Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Jordan with the Bet Locker here to bring you a Week 11 NFL props video for this upcoming Sunday. And if you haven't seen my NBA props video already yet today that I posted this morning, please go check it out. You'll realize and see why my voice is gone. Went to a sporting event last night, but go ahead and check that out if you would like. You can also see a heartbreak in that video that we had. So, we also had a heartbreak in the NFL last night in the Thursday night. Obviously in these videos, as I explained yesterday, we keep going 1-1. We went 1-1 again last night. I did go 2-0 for the premiums again. I had Drake May over passing yards, and I had Hunter Henry over receiving yards. So, but 1-1 in these ones, both receiving yards for the running backs, and Travion Henderson got there, and he got so many touchdowns and got all the yards and exactly what we wanted him to do. But then Brees Hall didn't get his passing yards. He only had 2 targets, couple yards, and just really thought that, man, Justin Fields just spreads it out way too much. And man, we just keep going 1-1 in these damn NFL picks. So, but I have 2 picks that I absolutely love this Sunday, and I have 3 more premiums on our site posted right now. It's already all posted. I've been up all morning, and I love these 2 picks that we're about to go to. So, before we dive in, please, as always, like and subscribe. It does help out the small channel a ton. And in my opinion, it does buy yourself some good karma somewhere along the line in your life. So, okay, let's dive in. Now, 2 buy low spots that I think, well, one for sure buy low spot, and another one that I just absolutely love in this position that this quarterback is in. But the first one, we're going to go to the Carolina-Atlanta game. So Atlanta has not forgotten what Carolina did to them in week 3. They absolutely routed them. They shut them out. They won 30-0, and Atlanta could not move the ball against them. They didn't get past like the 30 or 40 yard line the entire game. So they haven't forgotten about that. I can promise you that NFL, if there's one thing that you can count kind of on NFL, is that these teams do not forget about these previous games. So I expect Atlanta to be coming out swinging at home this week. So, but also having said that, Bijan is in a very, very buy low spot. Every time I make these videos, I swear to you, the yards go up. I mean, they fluctuate so much, but every single time I make these and I do my write-ups, they go up. So that's a good thing. I'm on the right side. I'm on the right track, right? With everything that we're looking at. So, anyways, Bijan's in a very buy low spot, and that's because Tyler Algier is an absolute vulture for touchdowns and for yards, and they do like running him. But I do believe that Bijan's going to be utilized much more this week in the rushing game and the passing game because they're going to want to route these Falcons. And to tell you the truth, I do feel that watching every NFL team too, you do always get the sense of like Tyler Algier got all the touchdowns last week. So like it's Bijan's turn to get all the touchdowns. That might not be a thing, but it seems to be every time week to week when we do watch. So anyways, his rushing prop's been in the 90s, almost all the way up to 99 to 100 so far this season. And he's only at 75.5. Now, Carolina, against, Alvin Kamara last week, he got 83, and Kamara's honestly, I think he's on the road to retirement. Packers, Josh Jacobs got 87, but only on 17 attempts, and they had to start passing it more in the end because they were down. So that doesn't really count. But then you go back 3 weeks, and James Cook ran for 216 yards on 19 attempts on them. So I really, really like this buy low spot of a Bijan Robinson that should be in the 80s to 90s almost every single week. But because of what happened last week and because of his performances the last couple weeks and what Algier has been doing, his number keeps dropping, and that's perfect. That's what we want because now it's just a buy low spot. So now we can take it at 75.5. That should be in the 80s and 90s, and we reap all the benefits. So I expect that Atlanta to come out swinging, to be crushing these guys, and Bijan to be running and probably catching all over them. So more than 75.5 rushing yards, 74 when I made this write up. But, like I said in my other videos too, it does fluctuate so much. So it could get to 74.5 or it could be 76.5 by the time you get it. So, but Bijan over rushing yards. And then the second pick that I really, really like is going to be in the Chicago, Minnesota game. Also rushing yards, and it's going to be Caleb Williams 22.5. Now, I know quarterbacks are risky. I know we've taken quarterbacks in the past and whatnot, but with the type of pressure that Minnesota can create and with the good secondary that they do have, with being able to probably tie up a lot of the receivers on Chicago's end, with the good secondary, with that good pressure, with the good defense at home in Minnesota, I do expect Caleb Williams to be taking off and running quite a lot this game. So, because even if you go back to, let's just pull up some of Minnesota's last couple games, just like we did with Atlanta, right? So against Ravens, Lamar Jackson had 9 attempts, and I'm not worried about yards. I more care about attempts here. Even against Detroit, well, Jared Goff does not run. Let's see. Justin Herbert had 7 attempts against them. And Jalen Hurts had 4 attempts against them. But then if you go to the Bears, let's see. The last couple games for the Bears, Caleb Williams had 8 attempts. And then he had another, 5 attempts the game before that. So what I'm trying to say here and what I'm trying to point at is because of the type of pressure that Minnesota can create, they do, it does make for more rushing attempts for Caleb to be taking off because, the pocket is collapsing and the great secondary in Minnesota, especially at home, is covering up those receivers to where he's going to have to create something with his legs, which does then make him run more. And I just really like his rushing yards in this game, in that type of game environment. So, and if you look at that, he's hit this number the last 3 games alone. So, and I would argue to say that this is even better spot than those last 3 games to get his rushing yards. So, number's pretty low. Maybe there's something telling to that to where this spot is even better for his rushing yards and his number is still so low, but I'm going to take the risk. And with, like I said, I don't want to bury the lead here, but everything that I have said does point to more rushing attempts for Caleb Williams, and I'll take my chances, especially on another buy low spot of 22.5 rushing yards. So listeners only, Bijan Robinson over 75.5 rushing yards and Caleb Williams over 22.5 rushing yards. Lock that in for this Sunday. I feel great about it, and I feel great about our premiums that we did post already over on thebetlocker.com. Here's a little preview for that. And see, just like I said, with my write-up 10 minutes ago, Bijan Robinson was at 74.5. So he's already going up. So they're already on to us. But little preview for that. And you obviously get our locker picks, DFS cheat sheets, prop bets, daily picks, and access to our Discord channel and everything that we have to offer at thebetlocker.com for dirt cheap price, $6.99 a week or $19.99 a month. Basically, you get 2 weeks free if you buy the month. So go grab it now. Premiums are all posted. Dailies are all posted. And our cheat sheet is coming out tomorrow. And ownership is going to be everything this week because it's a very spread out week. And we're going to need to lock down that under 10% own if you're playing GPPs. So that's it, guys. If you stayed this long, thank you so much for the support. Please like and subscribe. It does help out the small channel. And I do truly appreciate it. And go visit thebetlocker.com right now and get everything we have to offer. All right. We'll see you guys. Hey.